Are you over 60 and noticing you're losing muscle, feeling weaker, or getting tired easily? It might not just be age. It could be that you're missing out on one critical nutrient in your diet. Today, we're diving into the most powerful nutrient you can leverage to fight age-related muscle loss, boost your strength, and reclaim your energy. Spoiler alert, it's protein, but it is not that simple. Stick around until the end to discover how much you need, the ideal protein sources, and why one special amino acid might be the real key to maintaining muscle as you age. First, here's a surprising fact. Most people over 60 aren't eating enough protein. As we age, our muscles develop what's called anabolic resistance. It means your muscles don't respond as well to protein or training. The solution? You need more protein than you think. Not just in total, but at every meal. Older adults need more protein per kilo of body weight. Most need 1.2 to 1.5 grams per kilogram per day, not the outdated 0.8 grams per kilogram. Let's be a bit more precise here. To help adults over 65 maintain or rebuild muscle mass and function, the Pro-T Age Study Group recommends a daily protein intake of at least 1.0 to 1.2 grams per kilogram of body weight. For those who are physically active or doing regular endurance or resistance training, the target should be even higher, around 1.2 grams or more per kilogram per day. Older adults dealing with illness, whether acute or chronic, often need 1.2 to 1.5 grams per kilogram per day to support recovery and prevent further muscle loss. The main exception, people with severe kidney disease with an estimated GFR below 30 and not on dialysis, may need to limit how much protein they consume and should follow their doctor's guidance. That means if you weigh 70 kilograms, which is 154 pounds, you need at least 84 grams of protein per day. And most older adults aren't hitting that, especially at breakfast, where protein intake is typically low. In fact, studies show that older adults often consume less than 15 grams of protein at breakfast, far below the 25 to 30 grams needed to stimulate muscle protein synthesis effectively. Before we go on, remember that this video is part of a video series on the loss of muscle mass and functional autonomy in the elderly. Each video in this series represents a fundamental piece to provide you with a complete picture on the issue, so don't miss the other videos. Now let's talk about leucine. Leucine is a branched chain amino acid that acts as a trigger for muscle protein synthesis by activating mTOR signaling. To switch on muscle building, you need about 2.5 to 3 grams of leucine per meal, according to some studies. That usually means eating 25 to 30 grams of high-quality protein per meal. Sources like whey protein shakes, lean meats such as chicken and beef, fish, eggs, dairy, and soy can help you reach this target. Also, a good combination of vegetable protein sources like legumes, whole grains, and seeds can help you reach this target. Here's where most people go wrong. They have toast, juice, or maybe a bit of yogurt in the morning. That might be less than 5 grams of protein total, nowhere near what your muscles need. A better breakfast? You may consider including 3 eggs, which provide about 18 grams of protein, or a portion of Greek yogurt, which provides about 10 grams of protein for each 100 grams of product. Also, a protein smoothie could do the job. Generally, isolated protein powders provide about 25 grams of protein for 30 grams of powder. If you blend the powder with some high antioxidant content fruits, such as blueberries and some cocoa powder, you will get a delicious smoothie with high micronutrient content. Just pick one of these choices and aim for 25 to 30 grams first thing in the morning. I would also suggest adding a source of complex carbs to this meal in order to make it more filling and to guarantee a slow release source of energy to keep you adequately covered during the morning. Furthermore, many people ignore that foods considered only a source of carbohydrates also represent a significant source of proteins. For example, 100 grams of oat flakes can contain from 14 to 16 grams of proteins, in addition to being an excellent source of slow-release carbohydrates and fiber. If your appetite is low or your meals are light, supplementation helps. Whey protein is quickly absorbed and high in leucine. A typical scoop gives you from 20 to 25 grams of protein and about 2.5 grams of leucine. Great after workouts or as a mid-morning or evening boost. I personally am also a fan of vegan protein powders. I find that isolated pea protein powders, for example, have a good branched chain amino acid content. Furthermore, they also contain a bit of fiber and some micronutrients that vary from the chosen brand. Protein supplementation, especially leucine-rich whey, improves lean body mass and strength in older adults, with greater effects when combined with resistance training. Resistance training is vital to preventing sarcopenia. One randomized controlled trial gave older adults a leucine-enriched whey protein drink for 13 weeks. They saw significant gains in appendicular muscle mass, hand grip strength, and chair stand performance. Another study, published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition in 2016, provided 22 grams of whey plus 4 grams of leucine and 100 IU of vitamin D daily. After 12 weeks, participants participants improved their gait speed, hand grip strength, and functional independence. These trials demonstrate the importance of specific nutrient dosing in older adults. Yes, you can do this on a mostly plant-based diet too, but you need to be strategic. Legumes, grains, and nuts tend to be lower in leucine and less bioavailable. You can still reach your protein goals with smart combinations or by adding eggs, dairy, or plant-based protein powders, especially blends with pea, rice, and soy. A 2020 review concluded that with proper planning, plant-based diets can support muscle health in older adults, but may require about 10 to 15% more total protein to account for lower digestibility and leucine density. Here's a simple breakdown. Aim for 25 to 30 grams of protein per meal. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Include high leucine foods. If you are on a plant-based diet, just make sure to eat on a daily basis both whole grains, legumes, and seeds to get all of your essential amino acids, and talk with a nutrition professional to make sure you do not miss out on precious nutrients. Aim for a total daily intake from 1.2 to 1.5 grams per kilogram of body weight, adjusted for activity or illness. Don't just count grams, count quality, leucine, and timing. Your muscles are listening, but only if you speak their language, and the language of muscle is protein and leucine, served often and consistently. I just want to point out that the total daily protein amount is still more relevant than the distribution of proteins in the various meals. However, it is generally easier to reach the daily target if you try to distribute the intake over several meals. Furthermore, as we already explained, with aging due to anabolic resistance and to the aging of the gastrointestinal system, it is not optimal to ingest too much protein in a single meal. I also want to clarify just a few things before we close this video. This is my opinion. While meat represents a good protein source, I think it should be limited as much as possible. I consider it unhealthy, both for the planet and for human health. Firstly, heavy meat diets may exceed the daily protein needs, even for older adults, and as with anything involving human health, moderation is key. Furthermore, high meat diets are often accompanied by an excessive content of saturated fats, which, contrary to what some gurus claim, are harmful to human health and accelerate the progression of vascular risk factors, especially atherosclerosis and altered endothelial function. I also want to point out that processed meat is considered a Group 1 carcinogen. According to the International Agency for Research on Cancer, IARC, which is part of the World Health Organization, WHO, processed meat like bacon, sausages, ham, hot dogs, salami is classified as a Group 1 carcinogen. This means there is sufficient evidence in humans that it causes colorectal cancer. The level of risk is comparable to other Group 1 substances like tobacco, but that does not mean the magnitude of risk is the same. Red meat instead is considered a Group 2A carcinogen. That means unprocessed red meat, beef, lamb, pork is probably carcinogenic to humans. This classification is based on limited evidence in humans, but strong mechanistic evidence like heme iron, nitrates and nitrites, and high temperature cooking byproducts like heterocyclic amines and PAH. This association is mostly seen with colorectal and to a lesser extent pancreatic and prostate cancers. What could be the possible mechanisms of carcinogenicity? Some biological reasons behind the cancer risk include heme iron, which is abundant in red meat, may promote the formation of N-nitroso compounds, which are carcinogenic. Furthermore, preservatives in processed meat, nitrates and nitrites, can convert into nitrosamines, known to be carcinogenic. High temperature cooking, grilling, barbecuing, pan frying generates heterocyclic amines, HCAs, and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, PAHs, both of which can damage DNA. So, if you are 65 years old and older, as I explained in this video, it becomes particularly important to pay attention to protein intake and distribution to preserve muscle mass and functional autonomy. At the same time, the diet should always be focused overall on a Mediterranean diet with a high content of whole, non-processed, plant-based foods. In fact, a bunch of vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants are tremendously important to preserve muscle mass, optimize health, and reduce inflammation as we age. I want to remember again that this video is part of a video series, and each video in this series represents a fundamental piece to provide you with a complete picture on the issue, so don't miss the other videos. Protein intake is important, but, as we will explain better in the following videos, progressive resistance training is fundamental to preserve muscle mass with aging, and it is a huge lack of proper information to talk about prevention of sarcopenia without talking about physical exercise. If you learned something new today, give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and don't miss the next episode. The information presented in this video is intended solely for educational and informational purposes. It is not medical advice and should not be considered a substitute for consultation with your doctor or qualified healthcare provider. Although I do my best to share science-backed, evidence-based information, I am human. I can make mistakes. I can misinterpret research. And like all of us, I'm subject to cognitive bias. Science itself evolves. What is considered true today may be refined tomorrow as better data emerges. Please be especially cautious of anyone who claims to hold the absolute truth in health or science. True science is a process, not a belief system. It's okay to ask questions, and it's okay to challenge ideas, even your own. For personalized health recommendations or information, always consult with a licensed professional who understands your unique health history. Drop a comment below with your current protein routine or any questions you want answered. Remember, at the current time, Aging is inevitable, but muscle loss, not if you fight back with science. I will link relevant scientific sources in video description and pinned comment.